Imagine two people, same age, same salary, same city. One of them, let's call him Arjun, spends the next 10 years telling himself, I'll start investing when I have more money. The other one, Priya, starts putting away just 2,000 Indian rupees a month right now, with zero experience, zero confidence, just starting. Fast forward 30 years. Arjun is still working, stressed, wondering where the time went. Priya? She retired early, travels twice a year, hasn't checked her work email in 3 years. What was the difference between them? It wasn't intelligence. It wasn't luck. It wasn't even the amount of money they invested. It was one decision made at the right time that Arjun kept postponing. And here's the scary part. Most people are Arjun, not because they're bad with money, but because of something deeply psychological, something wired into how the human brain thinks about the future. Today, we're going to break that down. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your brain is keeping you from starting and what to do about it. Here's the most common story I hear from people in their 20s and early 30s. They know they should be investing. They've seen the Instagram reels. They've watched a YouTube video or two. They understand, on paper, that starting early is important. And yet, they don't start. Why? Most people think the reason is not enough money. Once I get a raise, I'll invest. Once I pay off this debt, I'll start. Once I understand it better, I'll begin. But here's what's actually happening. These reasons feel real, and some of them are real, but most of the time, they're not the true blocker. They're what psychologists call rationalized avoidance. Think about it this way. If someone told you your house was on fire, you wouldn't say, let me finish my chai first. You move immediately with zero preparation. So why does investing feel so different? Because the fire of not investing is invisible. It's happening in slow motion 30 years into the future, and our brains are spectacularly bad at caring about things that feel far away. This is the first psychological trap, and it has a name. Trap 1, hyperbolic discounting. There's a concept in behavioral economics called hyperbolic discounting. It sounds complicated, but the idea is beautifully simple. Our brains assign enormous value to things that feel immediate and almost zero value to things that feel distant. Researchers once asked people, would you prefer 1,000 Indian rupees today or 1,100 Indian rupees next week? Most people chose 1,000 Indian rupees today. Then they asked, would you prefer 1,000 Indian rupees in 30 days or 1,100 Indian rupees in 37 days? Suddenly, almost everyone chose 1,100 Indian rupees. The waiting time was identical, 1 week. But when the reward felt distant, people became patient. When it felt close, they wanted it now. This is why you'll skip the gym today, but tell yourself you'll start Monday. This is why you'll spend on a dinner out, but not save for retirement. This is why Arjun kept saying, I'll start next year, for 10 years in a row. Our brains treat the future like it belongs to a different person. And in a strange way, it kind of does. Neuroscience has shown that when people imagine their future self, the brain activity looks similar to when they think about a stranger. Not themselves, a stranger. So when you delay investing, you're essentially saying, let that stranger deal with it. Trap 2, the complexity illusion. Now, add a second trap. Investing looks complicated. You open a brokerage app. You see terms like NAV, PE ratio, CAGR, expense ratio, large cap, mid cap, SIP, lump sum, index funds, equity funds, and your brain does something very predictable. It freezes. A famous experiment in the 1990s set up jam tasting stalls in a grocery store. One day, they offered 6 types of jam. The other day, 24 types. More jam equals more sales, right? Wrong. The stall with 24 jams attracted more people to look, but the stall with 6 jams sold 10 times more. When we have too many options, we'd rather choose nothing than risk choosing wrong. And investing has approximately 10,000 types of jam. So most beginners spend months researching, comparing, hesitating, and never actually buy anything. They mistake movement for progress. Trap 3, loss aversion. Here's the third trap. Psychologists Kahneman and Tversky discovered something remarkable about how humans experience money. Losing 1,000 Indian rupees feels roughly twice as painful as gaining 1,000 Indian rupees feels good. Think about that. The emotional weight of a loss is double the emotional weight of an equivalent gain. This is called loss aversion. And it's one of the most powerful forces in personal finance. When you think about investing, your brain doesn't think, oh great, I might grow my money. It thinks, what if I lose it? The fear of a potential 10,000 Indian rupees loss hits harder than the excitement of a potential 20,000 Indian rupees gain. And so you stay put. You keep the money in your savings account where it feels safe. But here's the cruel irony. Money sitting in a savings account earning 3 to 4% interest, while inflation runs at 5 to 6%, is losing value every year. Silently, slowly, without any dramatic market crash to blame. You're already losing. You just can't see it. The stock market's volatility is visible and scary. Inflation's damage is invisible and quiet. And our brains, built to react to visible threats, ignore the quiet one completely. So now let's talk about what Priya actually did differently. She didn't read 12 books before starting. She didn't find a perfect fund. She did one thing. She started with what she had, even if it felt too small. Here's the math that changes everything. If you invest 2,000 Indian rupees a month starting at age 22, an average return of 12%, by age 52, you'd have approximately 70 Indian rupees locks. If you wait just 10 years, starting at 32 instead, that same 2,000 Indian rupees a month becomes roughly 20 Indian rupees locks. Same money, same rate, 30 fewer years. The difference? 50 Indian rupees locks. That's not investment skill. That's not stock picking genius. That's just time doing its quiet, invisible compounding magic. This is why people who understand compounding call it the eighth wonder of the world, and why people who don't understand it pay for it. So what do you actually do? Here's the simplest framework to break through all three psychological traps. Step 1. Make the decision feel immediate, not future. Don't say, I'll start investing this month. Say, I am investing today in the next 20 minutes. Remove the gap between decision and action. The moment you postpone it, your future self-brain takes over, and that person is a stranger who doesn't care. Step 2. Start embarrassingly small. Seriously. 500 Indian rupees a month. 1,000 Indian rupees. Whatever feels almost too small to matter. Because starting is not about the amount, it's about building the habit and removing the psychological barrier. You can increase it later. Right now, you just need to begin. Step 3. Choose simple over perfect. A basic index fund, SIP, something that tracks the broad market, beats 90% of beginner strategies. You don't need to understand everything. You need to understand enough. Simple, boring, and consistent beats clever, complex, and paralyzed. Step 4, automate it. Set up an auto debit. Make the decision once and let the system do it for you every month. Remove your emotional brain from the equation entirely. Here's the truth that no one tells you at 22. You will never feel fully ready to invest. There will always be a reason to wait. The market will feel too high. Your salary will feel too low. The news will feel too scary. The options will feel too many. But every month you wait is a month of compounding you can never get back. The best investors in the world don't have a secret formula. They have one habit. They started before they felt ready. Arjun's biggest regret wasn't that he made bad investments. It was that he made no investment at all. Don't be Arjun. If this video helped you understand why your brain holds you back from investing and what to do about it, give it a like. It genuinely helps this channel grow. And if you're someone who's been putting off starting, drop a comment below saying starting today. Sometimes that one public commitment is all it takes. Next video, we're talking about the one money habit that quietly makes people rich and why most people never develop it. Subscribe so you don't miss it. See you there.